If you're getting out of collecting Funko, this may be the video you need to watch. What's up, guys? I'm DK Wrestler, and I have been collecting Funko Pops for nearly 10 years. And although I don't collect as much Funko Pops as I did way back in the day, and I've slowed down quite a bit, I still collect them from time to time. But that may not be the case for you that may be watching this video, as you may have been out of the Funko Pop game completely. Whether that might be because it can be overwhelming with the amount of Pops that are made for specific sets that you collect, or just because, especially nowadays, of how expensive they are becoming to keep up with this sort of hobby. My co-host MD Shady a couple of years ago did a video where he showed off collectibles he has that aren't made by Funko. So I thought today I would show off some collectibles that I have that aren't from Funko that may draw inspiration, so that maybe you guys could go into collecting some of these items other than Funko themselves. And if you end up enjoying this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But nonetheless, let's kick off this video. And I'm going to kick this off with the collectibles of Youtooz. And the reason I wanted to start off with Youtooz is because it's very similar as terms to packaging as a Funko Pop. However, with the Youtooz, which I so happens to have a Funko Pop YouTuber as my Youtooz, they do have a sleeve that cover it at first. It has that same window on the front and the side as you normally see with the Funko Pop, but they do have quite a bit of quotes throughout the box, unlike Funko Pops, where really the only time you can get a quote is on the top flap when you lift it up. And as you can see, Youtooz figures are much more detailed than a Funko Pop themselves, but there is a bigger price point on it, which usually a Youtooz figures cost $29.99 USD, which is pretty much double the price of a Funko Pop itself. So it is a little bit more money, but you are getting a little bit more oomph as terms to the detailing along with the figures. And in case you're wondering, I did order myself the other Top Pops Youtooz that will be coming out soon, as I'll be doing a review video comparing that one with the OG one that I have in my hand right now. Handmade by Robots, a very unique collectible figure that also has kind of the same packaging style with the window and insert. And the one and only one I actually have and was gifted to me by my co-host MD Shady is Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. And as you can tell, the way that the figures are done are to basically give it like a crochet figure feel, except that it's made of plastic vinyl, and that of course it's a handmade figure technically, but it's made by robots because of course it was made by machines. So there is meaning behind the name, and these figures do look really nice, and especially once again, like I mentioned, you do have similar packaging to a Funko Pop, which I actually don't know the price point of Handmade by Robots for the most part, considering I've only been gifted one. Now, although I do have quite a bit of Pop rides, there is a simple solution with another collectible called Hot Wheels. Of course, the little die-cast cars that can either be displayed out of its packaging or in its packaging. And these two Hot Wheels that I have were gifted to me by my brother, which they are the RC car and the Pizza Planet truck from Toy Story. These are some really awesome Hot Wheels, and I do believe I also was gifted a Back to the Future car, not the DeLorean, but it was Biff's car that gets covered in the manure, but I couldn't find that. But the only ones that I do have that I could show you guys in its package right now are the RC car and the Pizza Planet truck. I don't really buy Hot Wheels all that much, but of course you definitely will save a lot of room if you collect more Hot Wheels. Next up, I wanted to talk about Lego. Now, although I haven't collected Lego in such a long time, there was a huge point in my life around the time that I started collecting Funko Pops where I was collecting Lego. And that's all because of this video game I used to play called Lego Dimensions, where you had to buy Lego sets with the different tags in order to play that certain character in the game. And it might be hard to see because of the glare of my computer, but there is kind of a view of all of my Lego Dimension stuff that is stored in this tiny little box. You may actually see, I believe it's right there if I'm not mistaken, is Bart Simpson, because the Simpsons were a part of the game at some point. There's another view right there, and I do see now Wonder Woman and I believe Ghostbusters. Let's show off another view of some other Lego. I believe Homer Simpson's car is right there. And then on the side view right there, there's another view. I believe that's the Ecto one. So who knows, if you are getting out of the Funko Pop game or you're out of it, but you want to find something else to collect, I actually may have to suggest Lego because of how awesome some of the sets they've been creating as of late have been. And because I brought up that Lego Dimensions video game, I think the next thing I want to talk about is physical media. And I'm going to talk about this all in one category because there's different types of physical media, of course, getting different DVDs and physical media like the steelbooks, or video games for that matter, because a lot of games nowadays are only digital, which, like I showed off, I have Lego Dimensions for the Xbox One along with a lot of different games for my Xbox One. But all my life I have played various different systems, whether that be the Xbox 360, the OG Xbox. The first system I got as a kid was a PlayStation 1. And speaking of a video game console I guess I could show off is my PlayStation Portable I found the other day. These are definitely a throwback in that I remember playing a lot of, I believe, Madden NFL on this thing. But back to the whole physical media aspect of things, the only thing closest to steelbooks that I probably have in my collection is actually this Steelbook limited collector's edition of Halo 2 for the original Xbox system that I thought I would show off. And to show off some cool art on the back, we do have Master Chief, which is actually pretty sweet. And to show off some different systems of games that I found PlayStation 2 with Guitar Hero 2, which is one of the games that I definitely played the most as a kid. And if you're a Call of Duty fan, you gotta agree with me that Black Ops 2 is one of the greatest Call of Duties of all time. Of course, a huge craze nowadays in the collectible world are Pokemon cards, which I've never really dabbled into Pokemon because I feel like if I got addicted to Pokemon, that I'd be in much of a rabbit hole as terms to collecting Pokemon cards as I have been the last 10 years or so while collecting Funko Pops. So yeah, the only cards I could really display right now are my Tim Hortons hockey cards that I got from, I believe it was the 2023 set that had came out, and I tried getting the entire set, and that explains why I also have placeholders for the cards that I'm missing. And then I also do have it on the back also with these sleeves. They're not in the book because the book that I have, I was selling off some duplicates of different cards that I got, so I was using it for that to sell it at toy shows, but lately I haven't been able to, but I feel like I'm gonna have to start selling these cards soon. Today I wanted to give a shout out to Sentinel 107, and the reason I'm giving them a shout out is because they signed up for our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month, which not only do you get a shout out on every single video, but you also get a bunch of other perks like using custom emojis in the comments, and more importantly, early access to every videos and shorts that we do on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It'll be greatly appreciated and will help out this channel tremendously, especially because of how expensive these videos can be to do for you guys. So definitely consider, but nonetheless, let's continue on with this video. Of course, me being DK Wrestler, I do collect some of the WWE Pops, but a substitution for WWE Funko Pops are, of course, the WWE action figures. Whether it's the LJN figures from the 1980s, the Jakks Pacific figures from the 90s and the early 2000s, or nowadays, the figures from Mattel. And so I thought I'd show you the different types of figures that I actually have, which this is a basic figure, which normally a basic figure doesn't have too much articulation, as you can see with this Bray Wyatt. You can move the legs like this, but you can't move them like as a splits form. You can move the arms a little bit, and when they normally get sold, it's just the figure itself in the box. Nothing really comes with it, unlike the next figures that I'm going to show you guys. Which Mattel is also known for making elite figures, which have a lot more articulation. Like I mentioned, you can actually spread the legs more out. You can spread actually the abs right here. You can do a little bit of crunches. There's more articulation with the figure, and as I mentioned, with more stuff included with it, it sometimes comes with pieces of clothing, like with the Zack Ryder, it comes with this kind of coat dealio, but some of them also do come with title belts or different pieces to other figures, because there are the certain figures that are called Build-A-Figures, where if you get a certain full set of elite figures, inside of each box are pieces to create another figure. Which, for an example, I do have an in-box Mattel Elite figure. That being this Elite Series 55 American Badass Undertaker, where, like I mentioned, not only is there a bunch of articulation, but there are stuff that come with them, like his bandana, there is the shirt that he wears, and of course, an undisputed WWE Championship. And if you want to get even more detailed than that, Mattel have also created the Ultimate figures, where sometimes there are interchangeable hands and interchangeable heads along with accessories, like I mentioned with the Elite figures. So that may be a good substitution that instead of getting Funko Pops for WWE, you might as well get the WWE figures where it's not just a big head, small body, and no articulation. At least you get some articulation, and whether you want to set them up in certain posings or you buy them for your kids so that way they can actually be able to play with them, unlike Funko Pops where you can't really play with them because they're more like a collectible. And I guess one other thing I will show off is that if you're a fan of either the comic book covers or the Funko Pop albums, there are the actual physical pieces of those items, which I'm going to show you guys right now. Vinyl records, which the one that I'm showing off right now that Funko's actually turning into a Funko Pop album, being Bark at the Moon from Ozzy Osbourne. I do have one of these solo albums for Kiss with Ace Frehley, The Ultimate Sin from Ozzy Osbourne, which I do have Diary of a Madman and Blizzard of Oz somewhere, I just don't know where they are. And one last one that I thought I'd show off because it's from my favorite band of all time, Dookie by Green Day, which I actually do also own this on CD.